Hello, DAC broker. This video is designed to discuss with you the personal commissions you earn when you secure a loan. We put out a short document recently that had a little chart on it that showed how you make between 50 to 80% of the commission. So I just wanted to bring a little life to that chart in case you had questions. Number one, as that document said, every time a loan is secured, there's going to be a commission amount we pay out. And that commission amount is generally 5 to 8% of the loan, which is extremely lucrative. Okay, so let's say there was a $100,000 loan and we were on the low end, 5%. We're going to pay out $5,000 in commissions on that $100,000 loan on the low end. How much of that $5,000 do you get? That depends on your personal production. And again, you get anywhere between 50 and 80% of that $5,000 in this case. So 50% of that $5,000 would be $2,500 you'd make on that $100,000 loan. So worst case, on our lowest commission and you being at the lowest tier, you're going to make about $2,500 on that $100,000 loan, which is about 2.5% of the loan. That's pretty darn good. You could make all the way up to 80% of that $5,000, right? Which would be $4,000, which would be like 4% of that $100,000 loan. So you're going to make between 2.5% and 4% of that loan, even when we get paid the lowest possible amount from the bank. That's extremely lucrative. Now, let's go to the other case. Let's say we got 8% we're going to pay out on that $100,000 loan. Now, instead of us paying out $5,000 to the broker field, we're paying out $8,000. So now there's $8,000 in commission. How much do you get? 50 to 80% of that $8,000. So at 50% of $8,000, you'd make $4,000. Not bad. That's 4% of the $100,000 loan. But let's say you got 80% of that $8,000. It'd be $6,400 that you earn for helping someone get a $100,000 loan in the best case. You're at the maximum 80%, and we got the maximum commission, which is about 8% of the loan. You then would make about $6,400 in that loan. So again, you make 50 to 80% of the commission amount, and the commission amount ranges generally from 5 to 8%. Okay, you may need to write some of this down. But the key is this: you never have to worry about what the commission amount is. We determine that, and we give you that and ship that out, and we'll let you know the commissionable value. You make between 50 and 80%. The only thing you can control, you don't control the commission we get from the bank. You don't control the terms. The bank and the underwriters control that. We submit it, and then we let you know what the commission amount is. We're always going for the highest commission, but not at the expense of the customer, of course. We don't want to take advantage of them. We want them to get a good, fair loan, and we want to earn a nice, lucrative commission for bringing that loan. Okay? So don't worry about what the commission amount is. Just know that in the ballpark, it's going to be 5 to 8%. I would just assume it's going to be 5, and then you're pleasantly surprised if it's more. But what you can control is whether you make 50% or 80% of the commission. That's completely up to you. Now, what's the difference? Your production. All of you, if you're brand new today, or if you're watching this between now and October 31st, we're giving you till the end of October as your first month. And month one, we're giving you at 60%. So you're automatically at 60%. Until October 31st, you have a 20% raise. Everything is minimum 60% instead of 50. Pretty good. But how do you make more? Well, your production determines 50, 60, 70, or 80. The way it works is if you have 2 loans closed in a calendar month, then you're at 60% for the whole next month. If you don't have 2, then you're only at 50% for the whole next month. Make sense? So your production this month, your activity level now, grandfathers you in at a higher commission next month. So if you do 2 loans this month, you're at 60% next month. Okay? If you do 4 loans in a monthly period, you're at 70% the next month. And if you do 5 loans in a calendar monthly period, you're at 80% the next month. So the 5 loans here, you didn't make 80% on. You made whatever you were qualified to make that month. But next month, you're getting 80%. So what if you got 5 loans again the following month? Well, then you'd be at 80% the next month too. And every month, you can make 80%. You're in control. If you do 5 loans a month, you're always going to be making 80% of every single loan you secure. So now we're making 5 to 8% and you're making 80% of that. That means you're making about 4 to 6% of the loan amount. That's very lucrative. If you had 5 loans secured a month, and let's say they average 75 grand, 5 times 75 grand is about 375,000. Just round it to 400,000 to be even. 400,000 in loans, and let's say we're even on the low end at 5%. 500,000 at 5% is 25 grand in commissions we're paying out. You're getting 80% of it. That's $20,000 a month you're earning by helping 5 loans do $400,000 in loans. 20 grand a month on your personal loans. That's pretty darn lucrative. And what if we got a higher commission we're paying out than we use minimum numbers there. So you get your 5 and don't worry about anything else. You'll be paid very, very well. Now, if you do decide to have a broker team, just know that you get 10% of anyone you introduce to this business. You get 10%. I will say this, if they bump up to the 70 or 80% level, your commissional volume is cut in half. You only get 5% of them because we're paying them so much more. So you get 10% if they're at the 50 and 60% level. If they go to the 70 or 80, that means they're adding more loans, you get 5%. So you're either getting 10% or 5%, but you're getting 5 on a bigger number. So you're going to make more. You want them at the 70 and 80% level because then you're getting 5% of a big number rather than 10% of a small number. Okay, so you actually earn more. So if you know people that are looking for a professional sales job, let them know about this. But the key is keep yourself at the 80% level. That matters more than anything. That's going to earn you more money than making 5% on someone else's loans or 10% on someone else's loans. Other people's efforts are great. But in this company, we pay out up to 80% of the commissions to the person getting the loan, not some team that's supporting them or referred them. Stay in the 80% level. Stay in the 80% level. Stay in the 80% level. Between now and October 31st, get your 5 loans secured. So that come November, you're making 80% on all the loans you do in November. And do 5 in November so that come December, you're making 80% on all the loans in December. And do the same thing in January and February and March and April and stay at that 80%. And if one month you only sell 4 loans, then you're down to 70% for the following month. And get 5 that next month so you can get back up to 80 for the following month. And if you don't do any loans, you're down to the 50% line. Minimum is 50, maximum is 80, you're in control. If someone's earning more, they're just producing more. This is about results, not reasons. Spread the word that you are an independent loan broker. Talk to businesses. Everywhere you go, talk to businesses. Find out if they're in the need. And if so, team them up with what we've got. If not, no problem. You're not selling or convincing anyone of anything. You find those for whom a loan makes sense, and you team them up with us, and we'll put them in with the right bank, and you get paid to do that. Some will, some won't. So what? Go to the next one. And some of those who say no now are not no for good. They're just no now. 6 months from now, they may need a loan, or a family member may. And they'll say, hey, I remember DAC. So give me your business cards, follow up with them, continue to follow up, and ask for referrals. Hopefully this answers your question about personal income, and I can't wait to see you getting 5-figure weekly checks. Enjoy.